So whenever you're ready. Thank you. So welcome, welcome. As I was just saying, the pose for today is Astavakrasana, which basically means crooked. It's a crooked limb posture. So I just showed it, and I guess I will show it again because I wasn't recording before, just so you can see it one more time. So it's an arm balancing position that requires the hip opening where you're taking one leg over the upper arm and hooking the feet together. As you come forward, my elbows are bent and I'm squeezing my legs together around my arms. My legs are pushed out to the side, right? So this is the position. And the attitude of it, right? The fact that it means crooked, right? And it refers to kind of, 8 limbs, the asta part of it refers to there being 8. So we will talk about those 8 points in a moment. But the idea is that the crookedness, right? This is named for a sage, right? Astavakrasana is a sage. And the crookedness being something that in this boy's life, when he was born, his crookedness was something that everybody discounted him because of, right? They saw his crookedness and they said, you'll never amount to anything. You can't possibly be intelligent. You can't possibly be this. You can't possibly be that. Right? That feeling of our imperfections being something that stops us from being everything that we could be, should be. But inside of him was a brilliance, right? That's what the sages all have, is inside of them is a brilliance, or inside of them is a awareness that cannot be contained by the body itself, right? And this is our great teaching of yoga, is that who you really are, what you really are, cannot be fully contained by the body, right? So the practice of this pose, the attitude of this pose, is to not get distracted by the crookedness, not to get distracted by the imperfections, not to get distracted by what feels like weakness, but to actually get in touch with, right, the fact that you are not contained. What is really you is not contained just by this physical form. So don't let it stop you, right? There's nothing that can stop you. So whether you come into the full balance today or not makes no difference. It's something that you can work towards if it feels good to work towards it. It's something that you can leave on a shelf and say, not for me. But to be able to understand the pieces of the body that need to be coordinated to do a posture like that, that adds to that inner world. It adds to that feeling of there's nothing that I can't do as long as I understand myself, right? And there's nothing in this world that can stop me as long as I understand myself. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. Crooked limbs. And just for a moment, contemplate the feeling of your physical body and all of its limitations. Let them run through your mind. I'm too short, or I'm too tall, too heavy, too skinny, too frail, too weak. Whatever comes into your mind as being your particular limitations. And then with all of that, can you breathe into the space that is around that? There is no limitation that can stop you. There's only the unwillingness to be everything that you are, to be who you are. That's the only thing that can stop you. You tap into the inner brilliance. And we see the inner brilliance through our imperfections so that we never stop to think that if only I were perfect, I would have that inner brilliance. If only I were not this or that. So the teaching is that your imperfections are not an impediment. Your limitations are not a reason to not be everything that you can be. It's only your mind that can get confused by that. Then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can stay seated for a moment. Bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. Start to cat-cow your spine, seated cat-cow. Good. So the good news is even if you have no intention whatsoever in doing the full arm balance today, you've already convinced yourself that there's no way you're going to do it. That's fine. The benefit is that the preparation for it is a lot of hip opening. So hip opening is great. It's a lot of lower abdominal work, which is great. Right? These are all things that benefit you in so many other ways, even if you don't ever do this particular position. And this is exactly the point, is that if your limitations, what you think you can't do, are not defining your actions, then you will benefit so much from what you can do in places that you didn't expect. So Astavakrasana, the wisdom of not being distracted by your imperfections. No excuses. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Bring the knees, bring the knees a little wider, feet together, bottoms of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. Good, you can sit up on a blanket here if you need. Good, and then inhale the arms up to the sky, please. Take a twist to your right, so left hand to your right knee, right hand comes back behind you, spinal twist. Good. As you lean into that twist, right, the tendency is to fall into the back hand. So push into your right fingertips. You keep your chest moving slightly forward, and then pull your groins down to the floor. It might even feel like you're squeezing your knees up a little bit, but pull your groins down and press your sit bones back and wide. Good. So it should feel a little bit like you're leaning forward towards the front edge of your sit bones. Good. One more deep breath. Nice. Then bend that left elbow, drag yourself into that twist a little bit more. So the arm against your knee, bend the elbow. So you pull your ribs just a little bit more. Awesome. You got it. And then come back to center, arms to the sky. Twist the other way, right hand to left knee, left fingertips back behind you. Good. And same thing. Push into your left fingertips so your chest is coming slightly forward. Your groins are going down. Your sit bones are pressing back and wide. Good. Navel in. Nice, you guys. Lift up through the crown of your head. And then as you bend your right elbow, so you drag that hand against your knee, twist just a little bit deeper. So you move your left rib cage wide. You use that connection of the arm or the hand against the knee to move your ribs. Good. And then come back to center, please. Nice job. Keep your right knee bent. Stretch your left leg straight out in front of you. So the right foot is to the inside of your left thigh, Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Little twist to your left, please, and then bow over the left leg. Good. You can absolutely use a strap here if you wanted to around the foot. Nice. Good. And then holding the ankle or the calf or whatever part of your leg you can hold. So nice strong arms, nice long arms. Lift your chest up. Good. And pull back on your hand. So you're not literally changing your hand position, but you're using the hand position to pull back energetically and pull your chest forward. So it's like you're trying to pull your arms into the shoulder socket as you lift your chest forward and up. Draw your low rib cage in, draw your navel in, press back through your seat. Good. And push that right foot into the inside of your left thigh. Nice. And then relax the head again. Come back into that rounded forward fold. Good. And then walk yourself back up. Nice. Switch the legs. Take your right leg forward. Bend your left knee. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist to your right. So you move the right low belly and ribs wider and then bow over the right thigh. Good. I feel like I had no choice but to teach this pose today because I woke up yesterday out of, I don't know, whatever half-formed dream. I didn't remember anything of it except for the pose Astavakrasana. Literally dreaming my yoga poses these days. I said, well, there's no choice then. I guess I have to teach it. Good. So find your position where you are holding the foot, where you're holding the leg, wherever you can comfortably reach. Straighten the arms as much as you can. So again, you have this connection, this steady connection, and then lift your chest up. Good. So as you drag back on your hands, on your arms, pull your chest forward, pull your low belly in, pull your low ribs in, press back through your sit bone. So it's like you're tilting your pelvis forward, top of the pelvis forward towards your thighs. Good. Pull back on the hands, really lift and open the chest. Good. Dig that right heel down. So again, you're anchoring the leg so it's not all going straight into the hamstring or the back of the knee. Awesome. And then release the chest. Again, round again if you'd like. Fall into the forward fold. Just notice the difference. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Nice job. Good. Bend both knees. Cross the ankles. Roll forward onto hands and knees. Do a little bit of cat and cow on hands and knees so you can just start to move the spine. Good. Nice. Focusing on the pressing down through your hands. So spread your fingers nice and wide and really stay connected to that feeling of pressure of your hands into the floor as you move your chest forward and up. So this is crucial in arm balancing, right? That there has to be this pushing down into the arms to create lift in your chest. So as you, next time you come into cat where your back is rounded up towards the ceiling, stay there. Good. And push into your hands. Feel like you're pulling your armpits up to the sky. Good. Pull your low belly in and up, belly in and up. So you're holding that cat position. Good. Maintain, maintain, maintain. And now start to lift the back of your throat and pull your collarbones forward, almost like you're trying to back bend, but you're still pushing into your hands so much. Good. That you can't fully lift the chest because you're rounding into your shoulder blades. Nice. Now maintain that feeling. Lift the back of your throat a little higher, Joanne. Good. And then bend your elbows just a little bit. Lean forward just a tiny bit more as you bend your elbows and hug your upper arms in. Good. But pull your armpits up towards the sky. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So your chest should be doing a lot of work here. Push through your hands, lift through your armpits. Good. And now push your arms back up to straight. Nice. Good. And then press back to child's pose. Yeah, so that gives you a little bit of a taste, hopefully, of what your arms should feel like when you are arm balancing, when they have to be your legs, right? So there has to be that steady pressure down into the hands, but if we only go straight down, then all the pressure goes into our wrists. So the real activation comes from that pulling up through the armpits, through the big muscles of your upper back and shoulders. Good. Come back up to hands and knees, please. Pressing down into the hands. Again, find that feeling of rounding your back. So round your back up into cat. Good. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pushing through the hands, and then still pushing into the hands, start to lift your collarbones up, but don't let your armpits drop. So lift your collarbones up, squeeze the lower tips of the shoulder blades towards each other. Good. Send your sit bones back and wide just a little bit more so you lengthen your lower back. Good. And then tuck your toes under, please, and lift your knees up off the floor just an inch or two. Yep. Good. And try to pull them forward as you push your butt back. Pull knees forward, but push your butt back, and don't let your shoulders come away from your wrists. Chest up, ribs in. Nice. Pull those knees forward, push your butt back. Yes. Awesome. Now straighten the legs, come all the way back into down dog. Good. Pull your hips super high and then let the heels soften towards the floor as you press back through your shoulders, still keeping your low rib cage in, pressing through your hands. Good. Right leg comes up and back, down dog split. Nice. And then bring the knee forward towards your right armpit. Let your shoulders roll forward towards that one-legged plank. Squeeze in and up, round. So drop your head if you'd like, round through your middle back, round through your shoulder blades. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Yes, nice, Joy. Good. And then take that leg all the way up and back behind you. Nice. And then step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop your back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Walk both hands inside the front foot. Good. Walk to your left just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. Keep your front knee pointing straight ahead. So you're widening the front knee. There you go. Don't let your right butt cheek pop out to the side. So Susan, pull your right butt cheek back and in. Nice. Good, you guys. Let your elbows bend. So again, you're letting your chest drop, letting your shoulders drop, but the legs hold. Good. Squeeze your feet towards each other. So you get that sensation of squeezing the feet, but widening the thighs. Awesome. Good. And then walk all the way to the left, come to the center of your mat, straighten both legs, turn the right toes forward, and take a deep bow. Good. And then turn both feet out to 45 degrees. And you're swaying back and forth between a side lunge. So go to the right first, bend your right knee, point it towards the second or third toe, keep your chest center, and then come back towards center where both legs are straight and let yourself move to the left into a side lunge. Good. If your knee is able to come beyond the tips of your toes, I want you to take your feet wider away from each other so that you can move from side to side. Good. Getting the stretch through the groins. Good. Stretch through the outer thighs. Nice job. Make sure that you are watching the angle of your knees so that they are continuing to point towards the second or third toe. So you're widening. Nice. Good, you guys. And then come back to center, please. Turning the toes, both sets of toes forward, forward fold. Beautiful. And then walk back towards the top of your mat. Right toes turn forward. Spin your left heel up. Good. Drop your back knee. And then bring your both hands inside the front foot again. Right shoulder comes right inside that right knee. Slide your right hand behind your heel. So your right hand comes to the baby toe edge of your right foot. You got it, Emily. Wrapping around the back of the calf. Good. So you're pressing into the hands again. Bend the elbows, almost like you're in chaturanga. Good. With the elbows bend, hug the arms in. Push forward with your chest. So lengthen forward. Lift your chest up and feel those lower tips of your shoulder blades dig down and squeeze in. Good. Now lift your back knee up off the floor. Yeah, keep your elbows bent if you can. And pull your hips back in space as you continue to push your chest forward. Good. Kick that inner thigh higher so your hips should really be lifting as high as they can go. Nice. Nice. Squeeze that knee in, that front knee. Squeeze it in towards your shoulder. That's it. Good. Release the back knee back down to the floor. Release that right hand or that right arm. Unwind it. Walk both hands to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your forearms if you'd like, or onto blocks. Good. Breathe into the hips. Nice, you guys. Good. Focus on this feeling of breathing wide into the space of your shoulder blades. So again, part of the big thing in arm balancing is that it's not your arms that are doing the work, it's your back and your chest. So even here, can you take some of the pressure out of your arms by feeling your shoulder blades, bottom tips of the shoulder blades, move down towards your hips and towards the center of your back? So when we say squeeze the shoulder blades, sometimes we just think about the upper shoulder blades. We think about squeezing like a pencil between them. That's how it used to be said all the time. And what that does is it makes us compress, right? We do squeeze, we compress, but that's not the same as actually engaging the muscles of your back in a way that supports you. So I don't want you to squeeze between your shoulder blades, but I want you to take that lower edge of the triangles of your shoulder blades and pull them towards the center. If that doesn't make any sense, just keep listening to it and keep trying to find the openness in your chest by widening. So hugging the shoulder blades in, but then widening, pressing out through the sides of your ribs. Good. You okay there, Joy? Walk yourself back in, please. Good. Lift your back knee, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward towards plank pose. Drop your knees to the floor, keep your butt lifted. And then slide your chest forward a little bit more. Bend your elbows, drop your chest to the floor between your thumbs or towards the tips of your fingers and lift your chin. So the points on the floor are the toes, the knees, good, the front of the chest, and your chin. Good. Squeeze the knees and the ribs towards each other. Good. And then pull all the way forward onto your belly. Rise up, Cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Beautiful. And then press back to hands and knees and come back to child's pose. So that position, knees, chest, and chin, is considered, or it's often called, 8-point pose, because you have 8 points of contact to the floor. And I think it's very interesting that the term, or the 8, is a continuous reference in yoga, because there are 8 limbs to the yogic path. And when we look at them in sequence, right, the way that they're taught is as a sequence from the outside going inside. And you say, okay, well, I have to do one before I do the next one, before I do the next one, when in fact you start wherever you start. Come back to downward facing dog. Right? Crookedness. There's not a linear path through this life. Left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward towards your left elbow. Bring your chest forward so you're in that one-legged plank. Squeeze in and then round your back. So as that knee comes forward, round, 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 round. Push into your hands. Feel your chest pulling up, your armpits pulling up. Everything pulls up, 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 up. Round, 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 round. There's not a second that you're in this that you're letting your weight drop. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. This is just conditioning, right? If you don't practice doing this, you will not feel comfortable doing it in an arm balance. You just have to do it. Good. Take that leg up and back, down dog split. That was really good, you guys. Awesome. And then step that left foot between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Walk both hands inside the front foot. So your legs are like in warrior 2, but your hands are in front of the front foot. Walk yourself to the right just a little bit until you feel resistance. So again, resistance is when the knee starts to fall in and your butt starts to push out. So pull your left butt cheek back and in, widen the left inner knee. Try to feel where your pelvis is in line with your ankles. So you're keeping the weight of the pelvis in line with the ankles. Good. And then let your elbows bend any amount so that you're dropping into the hands through the chest. And breathe consciously into the back of your shoulders. The wideness of your shoulders, your side ribs. Good. Nice, you guys. And then walk all the way to your right. Come back to straight legs. Turn both feet parallel. Prasarita Padottanasana. Find the wide legs first. Forward fold. Good. And then again, the option to move in and out of these side lunges. So turning the toes out 45 degrees, both feet. The option is that you can go a little deeper this time if you feel you want to. So as you come to one side, if you know that you can go deep into that side lunge, is if you're going to the right, right knee is bent, is you can come up on the left heel, turn your left toes up towards the ceiling. Good. So you can go low in the pose if that feels like it's the thing that your body wants to do. Just move slow so that as you're transitioning, you're making sure that both feet are on the ground before you start shifting your weight. There you go, Emily. Good. Nice. So there is something very important, I feel, in any type of balancing or when we are working at strengthening a muscle, is that if a muscle is already tight from chronic use, is that it's not very accessible, right? A tight muscle does not mean a strong muscle. So it's important, since the inner thighs have to do a lot of work in Astavakrasana, that the groins, the inner thighs themselves have to be accessible, which means they can't be tight to begin with. So we stretch in order to find where we can access greater strength. Come back to center, please. Turning both feet forward, parallel. Bow deeply. Good. So I think that's just an important principle, because we get so focused on how do I get a muscle stronger that we don't think about how do I get a part of my body to be more accessible, able to engage and relax. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Left toes turn forward, spin your right heel up. Drop the right knee down to the floor. Bring both hands inside your front foot. Left shoulder inside the left knee. Slide your left hand behind the heel to the baby toe edge of your foot. So you're wrapping your forearm around the back of your calf, and then bend your elbows into those chaturanga arms. So the elbows bend almost to 90 degrees. Good. And then you squeeze them towards each other like there's a rubber band around the upper arms. Good. Squeeze them in towards your midline. So a little in further towards your midline, Lorraine. Good. And then lift your chest. So you're pressing into the hands with the elbows bent. and lift your chest. So again, this is training the upper body to learn to lift through the armpits and lift through the chest and lift through the shoulders while the arms are bent, because that's how you balance in an arm balance. So keep your elbows bent, it's important. Chest up. Good. Now lift your back knee if you can. Of course, keeping it on the floor is totally an option, but if you can lift the back knee, lift it up. Pull your hips up and back as you lean forward, push forward with your upper body. Good. Keep the elbows bent if you can. And squeeze the upper arms towards each other. That's it. Should feel like a lot of work. Good. And then slowly release, right knee back to the floor, please. Unwind the arms. Good. Walk both hands to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. And come on down to your forearms, your elbows, blocks. Whatever you'd like. Good. Nice, you guys. I want you to breathe into wherever the places are that feel like they are restricted. It doesn't matter where they are. When we brush up against limitation, it makes us incredibly aware. It increases our intelligence, having limitation, restriction, problem solving, right? So as long as your mind is not in a place that says, I can't do this, if it hasn't already decided the outcome, then everything that you do leading up to the moment of the pose will greatly benefit you. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Lift the back knee. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Drop the knees to the floor. Butt stays lifted. Slide your chest forward. Bend the elbows. Drop your chest to the floor between your thumbs or in front of your thumbs. Good. Keep your butt up towards the sky. Good. So Lorraine, it looks like you need to take your chest forward a little bit more. There you go. And hug those upper arms towards each other. Squeeze your knees and your ribs towards each other. Pull your belly in and up. Good. Squeeze everything. Nice. And then pull forward. Drag back on the hands to take your chest forward, hips towards the floor. Rise up into Cobra. Straighten the legs. Good. Chest forward, chest forward, chest forward. Chest should be in front of your arms. Yeah. And then release, please. Back to hands and knees. Press back to child's pose. Good, you guys. Awesome. And then come back up to a kneeling position, please. Take your hands to your hips. High kneeling position, hands to your hips. Stretch your right leg out wide to the right, coming into gate pose. Good. Stretch your arms out wide. Nice. So you're going to reach your right arm out to the right as though you were like reaching for triangle, like you're going to reach down that right thigh, but you're not going to touch the leg. So just extend out to the side and pause. And now bring your left arm over the ear as well. So both arms are reaching to the right. Good. And then pull yourself back up to center, arms letter T. So bring your shoulders back up over. Yep, that's all you're doing. So reach out to the right again. Pause there. Take your left arm over as well. Both arms are reaching. This is again to get into side body strengthening. Good. Come back up to center. Arms are wide. Good. Reach out through the right arm again. Extend. Take your left arm over so both arms are reaching to the side. Good. Come back up to center. Nice. One more time. Extend all the way out. Reach the left arm over as well. Good. Back up to center. And then slide the right hand down the right leg. Take the stretch the normal way. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come back up to center, arms wide. So that was fun. This way is going to be harder. Reach out through your left arm now. So you're reaching out beyond the extended leg and take your right arm over as well. So now both arms are reaching out to your left. Wow. Yep. And then pull yourself all the way back up to center, arms wide. Good. And then extend out through the left arm again. Take the right arm over. Good, both arms reaching to the left. Keep that right foot on the floor. Come back up to center. Good, extend out through the left arm again. Again, shifting the ribs beyond your pelvis. Take the right arm over, so both arms extending. Good, move your heel further forward, Lorraine. You're extended, yep. Come back up to center, please. Good, one more time, extend all the way out to the left. Take the right arm over as well. Good, navel to spine. Pull yourself back up to center, please. Good, and then take the left hand all the way out and down to the floor or a block. Right arm comes over the ear. Good, keep your right foot on the floor for the moment. Good. And then optional, you can lean into that left hand here, float your right leg up off the floor into the balance. Good, so again, working that inner thigh energy. Nice, and now your leg is lifted, but I want you to feel like you're squeezing your right leg and your left leg towards each other. Good, and feel what your ribs do when you do that. Pushing through your left hand, squeeze your legs towards each other. Awesome, and then release that right foot to the floor. Come all the way back up to center. Beautiful, and then switch to the other side. So take your right knee down to the floor, left leg out wide. It's like doing oblique crunches in gate pose. Super fun. Arms out to the side, letter T. So you're reaching to your left first towards the extended leg. Extend out as though you're gonna reach over that leg, but you're not dropping the hand. Take your right arm over the ear as well. So both arms are reaching to your left, and then pull yourself back up to center. Arms are wide. And then extending out to the left. Good, take your right arm over as well. So both arms are reaching, and then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Good, and extend out through that left side body. Take the right arm over as well, all the way back up. Good, last time like this, extending out through the left side. Right arm comes over as well. Good, lean as far as you can, and then come back up. Good, and then slide the left hand down the left leg. Right arm comes over the ear, take the stretch. Nice. The practice is to understand yourself, not to try and get it so that you make sense in the world, because that's the story of Astavakrasana, is that there's nothing he could do to make himself acceptable to the people outside. Nothing he could do, because all they saw were what they perceived to be his imperfections. Can't fight that. Come back up to center. Good, so you're gonna reach the other way now. Right arm extends out to the right. Side body extends out to the right, so beyond your waist. And then left arm comes over as well. Lean as far as you can. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up to center. Good, reach again to the right, extending your rib cage out beyond your hips. Left arm over the ear, you still gotta use your legs. Good, and then all the way back up. Good, and then extending out to the right, ribs moving wide. Left arm comes over as well, lean. And then come all the way back up. Good, last one like this, extend out to the right. Slide that left arm over the ear as well, hold, lean, and then all the way back up. Nice job, and then right hand reaches out and down to the floor or a block. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. So if you're not focused on trying to make yourself acceptable to someone else or on the outside, but you really understand you, your limitations are not limitations. They are part of your intelligence. Lean into that right hand if you'd like. Float your left leg up off the floor into that Ardha Chandrasana variation. Good. Lift that thigh as high as it will go. So you're working that outer hip too. Good, and then feel like you are squeezing your legs towards each other and maybe even rounding through your left rib cage just a little bit as you squeeze the legs together. Good, you get stronger through your side body. Awesome, and then release that foot back to the floor. Please come all the way back up. Nice job, come back to hands and knees. Do a little cat and cow. If tomorrow you feel like reaching for anything feels like a lot of work, you're welcome. Good. It is not the arm's job to do all the work in an arm balance, nor is it the leg's job to do all the work in a standing pose. We have to understand all parts of ourselves so that there is no feeling that there is a limitation of what we can be. Might be subtle limitations to what we can do. Totally fine. Does not diminish you internally at all. And that's Astavakrasana, the crooked sage. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Press back downward facing dog. Nice. Slide forward plank pose, upward push up. Keep your hips nice and lifted here. So in your plank pose, bring your feet together, inner thighs together, and then lift your hips a little higher. Good. And then Vasisthasana, right hand holds you, turn onto the baby toe edge of your right foot, take your left arm to the sky, push your hips up towards the sky. Good. Yeah, push, push, push. And then back to center, please. And then roll onto the other side. Left hand holds you, left arm holds you. Remember, you're pushing down into that arm and you're pulling up through your armpit. So don't let the weight fall into the wrist. Pull up through your armpit, push up through your hips, almost like you're rounding like the rainbow side body. So push your hips up, 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 up. Good. And then back to plank pose, please. Drop your knees to the floor. Slide your chest forward slightly. Drop your chest to the floor between your thumbs. Keep your butt lifted. 8-pointed pose, little inchworm. Good. Squeeze the upper arms towards each other and feel the place behind your heart begin to melt, even if it can't go very far. Good. And then pull forward, drag back on your hands. Your chest pulls forward, rise up into Cobra. Beauty of that is if you take a look, right, bend your elbows again. Bend your elbows again, drop yourself a little lower. If you look right now, that if you pull forward from that position, it almost always puts your elbows in a perfect 90-degree angle with your wrists, which is what you want for Cobra and what you want for balancing poses, arm balancing. So just notice that's what a 90-degree angle feels like. And then release back, please. Good. Come up to hands and knees, press back child's pose. Beautiful. So when we have our arms in that position, it makes poses, our back bending poses, be shoulder opening poses, which they should be. But if we go to where we are comfortable in our back bends, then we might never get to those restricted places in our shoulder and our back because it's simply too uncomfortable to go into our restriction. But that's what we're asked to do all the time, right? Go into your restriction. Okay, downward facing dog. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good, bring that knee forward and wide for pigeon. So right knee goes towards your right wrist. Good, sliding the left leg back. Good. Pressing through the front shin. So again, there's a feeling of pushing down into the leg to feel a lift through your pelvis. Good. And then let yourself walk forward, coming onto your forearms or blocks, whatever you want to have with you. Good. And breathing through the space of the lower back. And try to maintain a feeling where even here, where you are resting, quote unquote resting, where you are squeezing your legs towards each other. So there's a subtle drawing together of the inner thighs. Maybe you're like, but my inner thighs are pointing different directions. Doesn't matter. Squeeze the legs towards each other because that will help to create that inner thigh awareness and outer hip awareness. Both are necessary. Good. And by squeezing the legs towards each other, you might find that it's possible that you can relax through the upper back just a little bit more. We cannot live for the expectations of others. We cannot even live attempting to meet the expectations of ourselves because our expectations are driven from our mind. It's not always a true reflection of who we are. It's a concept, right? A thinking, this is who I should be. This is who I've been asked to be. That becomes the limitation. I have to somehow figure out how to be someone I'm not and be happy about it. And then we wonder why we struggle. So Astavakrasana is a pose named for a sage who is crooked. It says there is no way that this world will accept that my crookedness is exactly how I am supposed to be, but it is who I am. So you let go of that fight to make the world accept you. And instead you simply seek to understand yourself so clearly that your radiance shines through. That's what yoga is. So there is no limit to what you can be, except if your mind tells you that you can't. Good. Walk yourself back up onto your hands, please. Nice. Press back to downward facing dog. Nothing fancy. Good. Move through a vinyasa if you'd like, or just pedal your feet in dog and stay. If you're moving through the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly. You can do that knees, chest, chin if you'd like. Rise up, cobra, downward facing dog. Nice. And then go ahead and set up for pigeon on the other side. Left leg comes up and back behind you. Good. Bring the knee forward and wide. Good. Sending your outer right hip spinning slightly forward. So again, your pelvic bones are coming in line with each other. Good. Crooked poses only work if we know what needs to be in alignment with each other and then can be off center from something else. And then walk yourself forward onto your forearms. Good. And again, do that action of subtly squeezing the legs and don't stop, right? Don't squeeze for a second and say, okay, that's what she's talking about, and then stop. Stay with a gentle squeezing. So not a harsh, I've got to squeeze as hard as I can, but stay with the feeling that you can hug your legs towards each other, that inner thigh energy pulling up towards the center of the pelvis. Squeeze the legs together just a little bit so that you can continue to feel release through the upper back. Maybe even release deeper through the lower back. That's also possible. But part of the point is also to maintain the gentle engagement so that those muscles don't get tired. They get stronger. Good. So the lift in Astavakrasana really comes from the inner thighs, from the belly. So that squeezing of the legs around the arm. If we don't have that squeeze, then the weight of the pelvis, the weight of the legs feels astronomical. The squeezing helps to make you weightless. So you want inner thighs, outer hips to be strong and accessible. Good. One more breath where you're at. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Press back, downward facing dog. Nice. Pedal the feet if you'd like. Good. And then slide forward to plank pose. Good. Lower down to your belly. And then you're rolling onto your right side. So onto your right side body, onto your right hip. You're rolling onto your right side. Stack the hips. Good. Try and keep the legs straight and roughly in line with your hips. If they need to come slightly forward for balance, you can. That right arm underneath you, Emily, you can take underneath your head. It doesn't have to be like tucked under you. You can bring it out. Good. Nice, you guys. Okay, so you're going to split the legs. You're going to lift your top leg, your left leg off of your right. So take it up high, toes facing straight ahead. So don't turn the leg in or out. Toes are still facing forward. You're just lifting the leg as high as it will go. Hold it there, navel to spine. Now, you're going to bring your bottom leg up to meet your top leg. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Yep, bottom leg lifts up to try and meet the top leg. Yep, and then let it come down. Keep the top leg lifted. You're just working the lower leg. Lift it up to try and meet the top leg. Yeah, don't fall over. And then release it down. Good, keep doing that a couple of times. So you lift that bottom leg, engaging that inner thigh, like you're gonna try and get it to reach the top leg. It probably won't, don't worry about it. And then let it go. If your top leg is super, super high and you wanna bring it down lower, you can. Doesn't have to be higher than your hip. The point is just to work that inner thigh energy of I lift and I lower. Bottom leg, top leg just holds. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. So you feel, right, that the inner thigh has to work and the lower abdominals have to work. You're like, I don't know what's happening. Something is happening. Good. Nice, you guys. Good, do one more. Good, and then let it go. Nice job. So bring that left knee, your top knee forward in front of you, bend it. So you're letting it drop down to the floor in front of you with a bent knee. Good. Bring your left arm back behind you into a spinal twist. So you're dropping your shoulders back behind you. Good, only as far as you can, keeping that knee on the floor. So you can take the arm up over the ear instead of straight back behind you if that feels better. Good. Yeah, so the left arm can be over the ear, reaching long instead of back behind you. Beautiful. Good, and then bring yourself back to that same position where the legs are straight. Come up on your right forearm this time, so as though you are setting up for a forearm Vasisthasana. So if you need a blanket or to fold your mat underneath that right elbow, go ahead. Good, so in theory, your right forearm will parallel the top of your mat. So Emily, I would turn it slightly inward. Yeah, there you go. Good, and then you're pressing into that forearm. Left hand can come to your left hip. Good, feet can either be stacked on top of each other, or if you need that top foot to be slightly in front and the ankles crossed, you can certainly do it that way too. But you're pressing down into that forearm and you're lifting your hips up off of the floor into forearm plank. Yep, push those hips up. I know, it feels like a ton of work, right? Good, so try it this way. Bring your hips back down to the floor. Don't change the forearm, but bend your knees. So bring your knees slightly forward, bend your knees, take your heels towards your butt a little bit, bend your knees a little bit more. There you go. Now press into the feet and lift your hips up from there. So knees and hips lift up off the floor. A little easier, right? You're like, I don't know. And release it back down. I know it's awkward. So bend your knees more, Susan. So your knees come forward more. There you go. And then you're pressing into that forearm. So the whole point, right, is to get this feeling of how do I press into my arm and use the muscles of my side body and my abdominals to hoist my hips up, right? So that's what we're trying to find. So keep trying. Press into that forearm, scoop into that low belly, push your hips up into that forearm plank. Good. And then release them back down. Do it a couple of times. Good. Yeah, I know. You're like, this one is not my favorite. Never doing this class again. Good, do it one more time, pause and hold. Chest open. Good, and then slowly release, come on down. Roll onto hands and knees, press back child's pose or rest on your belly. Good, I hope these positions are at least making sense to you, right? Even if they're very hard to do, I hope they're at least making sense, that you can sort of feel like what I'm getting at. Because it is true that our side waist, right, our ability to move through our side body, our side abdominals, our legs, we become very limited. We think that the strength is only in our ability to, use big muscles. We don't think about the smaller accessory muscles that also do a lot of work. All right, come back onto your belly. You got to do the other side. I know you don't want to, but you have to. Roll onto your left side, please. Stacking the hips, legs straight first. And again, the left arm can be underneath your head for support. Good. And again, you're trying to have the hips stacked on top of each other. So you're not rolling backwards onto the fleshy part of your left butt cheek, as you're really staying, trying to lean slightly forward with the legs. Good. Take your top leg up as high as you want it to go. Does not have to be higher than your hip, but you do want it to be up at least in line with your hip. And it just holds. Good, and then the bottom leg is going to squeeze up to try and click your heels together. So pull that bottom leg up and then release it down. Good, and do that a couple of times. So you're breathing, bringing that bottom leg up to try and meet the top and then letting it go and trying not to clench into your upper body when you do it. Make the lower body do it. Good, so try and isolate that the lower body is doing the work, the upper body is just stabilizing. Nice. I totally did steal this. It's a Pilates move, so I didn't make it up. But it does get you into that feeling, right, of my thighs squeezing together. This is the power in Astavakrasana, is your ability to squeeze your legs together and move your hips from this kind of action. Good. Nice. Do it one more time. Good. And then slowly let it go. Bring that top knee forward in front of you. Bend the knee. Let it drop onto the floor. And then start to roll back into a version of a spinal twist. So letting your shoulders fall back. Good. Right arm can come up over the ear. So if the shoulder can't comfortably reach the floor with the knee also on the floor, just stretch the arm straight up. That's it. Nice, Joanne. Nice. Good, Emily. Good, Joy. See, this pose is not so bad. This preparation is not so bad. Yeah. Watch your mind that as you're doing these things that are unfamiliar and maybe your body says, I've never been taught to do these things. It doesn't make sense to me. That feeling of limitation does not start to creep into, I can't do this. It's part of your intelligence. Working with limitation, finding what can I do? What aspect of this can I connect to? Good. Bring yourself back, please, where you straighten the legs, back onto your side. Good. So again, you can try this here. So you're doing the forearm plank again. So come up on your left forearm, parallel to the top of your mat, preparing for forearm plank. You can, again, try this with the knees bent the way that we did it before, bending the knees, letting them come forward, heels in towards your butt a little bit more. So you can do it that way, or you can have the legs straight, your choice. Bring the right hand to the right hip, push into that left forearm from your armpit. So again, don't just try and throw those hips in the air. Start to lift through your left rib cage and then push your right hip up. Good. And then lower it back down. Nice job. And do that a couple of times. Good, because again, you want it to be something that, okay, it's not like I did it once and I barely held it and then I collapsed out of it. Is you want it to be something that you are familiar with, that your body understands the action of this is how I lift. You can feel those inner thighs squeezing together. Good. So notice if you don't squeeze your legs, it might be a lot harder to get the hips up. If you do squeeze your legs, it might feel like it's a little bit less weight. Good, press through the whole length of your forearm. There you go. Nice, you guys. Good, and then slowly release, please. Roll back onto your belly. These are really fun things for you to do on a Friday night when you have nothing else planned. Good. Reach your arms, reaching back towards your feet, please. Kick your heels in, reach for the ankles. Good, if reaching the ankles does not work for your body, plant the hands alongside your ribs instead, elbows bent for Cobra. Good, kick your feet into your hands, lift your thighs up off the floor, lift your chest up off the floor, come into bow pose, squeezing the knees towards each other, bend the elbows just a little bit so that you're really getting into the openness of your chest and your shoulders, navel to spine. Good. Awesome, you guys. And then slowly release, please. Nice job. Let your feet come back to the floor. Good. Maybe wiggle the hips a little bit. Nice. And then press yourself back up to hands and knees. Come back to child's pose for just a breath. Good. And then come back to downward facing dog. Good. Step or jump your feet forward through your hands or straight into squat, your choice. Good. Taking the feet nice and wide. If you stepped yourself forward, bend your knees, come down to squat. And elbows to the inside of the knees, squeeze your knees against the upper arms, press your upper arms wide into your knees. Good. Again, that feeling of inner thigh strength. Beautiful. And then right hand to the floor, please, inside your right foot, left arm to the sky, open, open, open. Good. And then release and switch, left hand down to the floor, inside the left foot, right arm up. Good. And then release that hand down. Beautiful. And then come on down to sit. Nice. So come to a cross-legged seat, grab your blocks. Yep, cross-legged seat. Grab your blocks. And you're going to place your blocks alongside your hips, so not underneath your knees, but alongside your hips so that you can place your hands on your blocks and your arms should be a straight line from your shoulders. Good. So you want your blocks to be right in line with your shoulders so you can press your hands into your blocks and be in a straight line with your shoulders. Good. So your blocks have to be flat. Yep. So this is scale pose, preparation for scale pose. So I want you to practice this, hands flat on the blocks, bend your elbows just a little bit, lean forward slightly, just a little bit. Yep. And as you press into that, press into the block with the elbows bent, squeeze the upper arms towards each other. Good. Try to feel like you're doing that push-up action where you're pushing into the blocks and you feel your upper back and your shoulders start to squeeze together. Good. Now scoop your low belly. Feel like you're trying to pull your butt up off of the floor. Pull your butt up, pull your butt up, pull your butt up. Now push into your arms, straighten the elbows, and see if you can literally pull your feet up off the floor. Good. Butt up off the floor first. Feet can remain on the floor, but butt up. Good. And then once your butt is up, pressing into the hands, maybe you can squeeze your feet up as well. Good. And then release back down. Nice, you guys. Try it again. Again, this is body conditioning. So this is getting comfortable with that feeling of this is what my shoulders and my chest feel like when my arms are holding me because my legs are not. So lean slightly forward because that helps. Bend the elbows slightly so that as you push into the hands with the elbows bent, you can feel that squeeze of the upper arms. You can feel your ribs. You can feel that lower edge of the shoulder blade squeezing. And then the belly engages. Low belly curls up. Good. Hollow, hollow, hollow. Squeeze your legs. And press your arms to straight and pull your butt up off the floor. As you push down into the hands, you pull up through your armpits, you pull up through your low belly. And then maybe you squeeze your feet together so strong that your feet come off the floor as well. You got it, Lorraine. You're right there. And then if you can get your feet up off the floor and hold, then that's when we start to sway back and forth. That's why it's called scale pose. Yeah, good. Come on down. Try it one more time. 3 is the magic number. Good. Pressing into the hands, slight bend to the elbows, lean slightly forwards with the elbows bent, push down so that you get that feeling of engagement of you're squeezing your arms in, your side ribs, your front chest, your upper back are all hugging together, navel in. Push your arms to straight, pull up through your armpits, squeeze that low belly in and up to try and pull your butt up off the floor. Squeeze your knees up. You could totally do that. Squeeze your knees up. Good. And then see if those feet will come off the floor as well. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pull them up, pull them up, pull them up. I know, Lorraine and Joanne, you guys are right there. You're right there too, Kristen. Good. Nice, Emily. And then slowly release. Come on down. Nice job. Take your, leave your legs where they are. Take your arms out wide. Just do little circles with your arms. Wow. I know. And then rotate them the other way. Good. And then take your right arm across your chest, hook the left arm around the upper arm. Don't go into full eagle. Good. Just keep that right arm straight. Nice. And then stretch the arms out wide again, open chest. Take the left arm across the chest, hook the right arm around the upper arm, the right elbow around the upper arm. Just stretch. Good. And then slowly come on out of that. Nice job. All right. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Good. Draw your right knee in towards your chest and reach for the baby toe edge of the foot with your left hand. So you're turning that shin parallel to the floor, like a, baby cradle. So left hand holds the baby toe, turn your shin parallel to the floor like you're doing a seated pigeon pose. Right hand can be at the outer right knee. Let your knee rock from side to side. So Susan, yeah, turn your shin like you're in pigeon. There you go. Nice. Good. And start to make actual circles with that knee. So instead of just side to side, as you're actually rotating the knee in the hip socket all around. So you're rolling around on that sit bone. Good. Some people even like to roll way far back, pull the knee back and lean way, way back. Good. And then forward again, and then lean way, way back, pulling the knee back towards the armpit and then way, way forward. Good. So just fool around with it a little bit. Nice. And then practice. So come back to stillness. Take that foot, lift it nice and high as it will go, and start to feel how you can lift that right butt cheek, hike that knee as high as it will go over your right upper arm. So bring your arm to the inside of the knee, down to the floor, and try and bring that right knee up over your right shoulder with your right hand touching the floor. Yep, you got it, Lorraine. Exactly. Just put that right hand on the floor. Good. And bring that knee as high up over the upper arm as you can. Bend your right elbow. Yep. And just squeeze your right knee around your upper arm. Just do that part. Good. So squeeze it so you can actually let go with your left hand and your leg will stay. I want you to try that. Let go with your hand, squeeze your knee around your upper arm. Good. Now bring your left hand down to the floor as well. Yep, right alongside the right, so it's in line with the right. Lean slightly forward. Yep, press into those hands. Keep squeezing that right leg. Scoop your low belly, press into your hands, chest slightly forward. Good, press into your left heel, lift your butt up off the floor. So Kristen, you got to bring your left hand to the outside of your left thigh. There you go. Squeeze that right thigh around the, you got it. You got it, Joanne. You got it, Lorraine. Awesome. You got it, you got it, you got it. And then slowly release. Good, come on down, unwind. Good job. Straighten both legs, arms up. Bow forward, Paschimottanasana. Good. Arm balances look terrifying because in our minds, we're like, I don't understand how this is supposed to work. But if you break it down piece by piece, your body can do so many of the pieces. It's just a question of making it familiar enough with the combination that it will go into the pose with confidence. And that's what this pose is really about, right? The imperfections, your limitations are what create your intelligence. It's what creates your confidence, puts you in touch with your radiance so that you're not afraid at all of what you are and not at all trying to be what you aren't. Walk yourself back up. Okay, left leg stays, no, right leg stays out in front of you. Bring your left knee in, is that correct? Yep. And then reach for the baby toe edge of that foot. So come into the baby cradle on this side. So the right hand holds the outer edge, left hand holds the knee, and just rock from side to side. Your shin is lifted in front of your chest. Good. So watch your mind that it doesn't get disappointed in any part of this process. It does not matter if you are getting into the arm balance today or not. Good. Start to circle with that knee. But honestly, if you can get to that part where you've got the leg hooked around your upper arm and you can lift your butt, you are 3/4 of the way there. So then it's just practice. We'll work on the other half, maybe another day. We'll come back to this pose. Good. Good. Now start to come back to stillness. Draw that left knee back. Good. Bring your left hand down to the floor inside the knee. So bring the arm inside, then take it down to the floor and lean onto the right hip. So you can lift your left butt cheek off of the floor here so that you can bring that leg as high up towards your left shoulder as you can. You got it. And then you're pressing that hand down to the floor. Use the knee, squeeze. Squeeze around that arm so that you can let go with the other hand and the arm will hold. You got it. Lorraine, you got it. Joanne, you got it. And then take the right hand down to the floor outside your right hip. Lean slightly forward, elbows are bent, squeezing with that left leg. And then scoop that low belly. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome. And then if you feel pretty good with that, you're lifting your butt pretty confidently, take your butt back to the floor. Now this gets a little tricky, right? You've still got that left leg hooked. Now take your right foot and hook it around your left. Yep, hook your ankles. You got it. Flex your feet. Lean slightly forward. Start to squeeze your legs towards each other. So squeeze your inner thighs towards each other like you're going to squeeze that upper arm between your legs. Lean forward. You got to lean forward, Lorraine. More. You got to lean forward. Yep. Bring your weight forward. Yep. You got it. As you lean forward and squeeze the legs straight around that arm, if you can lift your butt, it's the same action. Pull your low belly in, lean your chest forward, push your butt out, push your butt back, squeeze your legs together. You got it. That was it. That was it, Joanne. Awesome. Good, Lorraine. You got it. Now just press your thighs together, straighten the legs. Kristen, you're right there. Lean forward. Lean forward. Squeeze your legs around that arm. I know. Don't let your daughter show you up. Come on. Good, you guys. Fool with it. This is the beauty of these poses, is fool with it. You're right there. You're so close. Joy, I saw that. That was good. Nice, Susan. Yeah. Good. Slowly let it go. Nice job, you guys. Stretch both legs out in front of you, arms to the sky, deep breath in, and bow forward. Now you have to be honest with me, right? Who has ever done that arm balance before? How many of you have even tried it before? No. Susan has. How many of you thought there's no freaking way I could possibly do this? Yeah. And now you're not sure, right? You're like, maybe I can do this. It takes practice. But once you get the understanding of, oh, this is the pieces, this is how my body needs to move, and this is where there is strength that I have left untapped, you can do anything. You become more intelligent because of your limitations. Walk yourself back up. Really awesome work, you guys. Come onto your backs. That's not an easy arm balance, right? I would say that that's, level 2 arm balancing, right? Because it's not as simple as crow pose. Good. Bend your knees in towards your chest, please. Cross your right thigh over top of your left, stacking the knees, separating your feet, reach for your ankles. Good. And then switch, take the other leg on top. Separating the feet. Again, just breathing into the lower back. Good. Unwind, please, hugging the knees in towards the chest. If you'd like a final spinal twist, you can take one of your choice, either dropping the knees to the right together or bringing the right knee over, the left leg straight, wrapping the legs, any spinal twist that you want. But I would say whatever strengthening exercise felt the most difficult today, come back to it. Come back to it because it was difficult. Take your spinal twist to the other side. And don't do it with the sense that I'm going back to what's difficult because I have to improve myself to be better than I was. But do it because you want to understand, to become more conscious. You can understand the limitation and it does not diminish you at all. Come back to center, please. Squeezing the knees in towards your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees and hug. Good. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms up. Well-deserved Shavasana. Letting yourself go into the inner world where we hope that we find the place, because we know that it's there, but we hope that we let ourselves experience it. Where there is no seeking to be what we aren't. There's no need to please or pretend. There's just the inner radiance. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Hands coming together in front of the heart, palm to palm. To the crooked pose or the crooked sage. One who is born with imperfections that make no sense to the outside world because they can't see the radiance within. But when we are like that, we recognize our limitations and we stop trying to meet the expectations of the outside. We start just being really in the full radiance of who we are. It shines through. And the miraculous thing is that when we're doing that, when we are that, is that the rest of the world starts to turn in our direction instead of us being pulled in the direction of the world. This is what the yogis call freedom, is that you are always and forever yourself, and your imperfections, your limitations are no excuse. There is no reason for you to be anything less than you are unless your mind tells you that you are that you are less. So the only opponent that there is that part of the mind that wants us to run away from who we are. So you embrace limitations as a way to become more intelligent, to become more compassionate, to become more of who you are, to understand yourself fully. And that's the power of this sage, is that by being who he was, he drew others in the direction of his wisdom instead of being pulled in the direction of their judgment. There's incredible power in you. Don't pretend that there isn't. We'll close the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. You did amazing. Every single one of you, you did amazing. I hope that you keep playing with this pose, and you can pretty much guarantee if I do an arm balance, then next week I'm not going to do another arm balance. So you can trust that it won't be as scary next week. But thanks so much. I hope you have fun with this.
I'll probably do it tomorrow night.
You'll let me know tomorrow night. Good.
That was a great class. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I will see you guys soon. Check out the website. We got some fun stuff coming up. I'm going to be doing a workshop with Sarah on the 21st with some somatic stuff with the pelvis, yoga and somatic stuff with the pelvis. If you have interest in that, check it out. And then I'm subbing for Linda's yin class this Sunday. So if you're interested in coming to see what I do when I teach yin.
I can't even imagine.
I know.
I know, it's very bizarre.
You're
But
like, hold that pose for 30 minutes.
yes, I do teach yin as yin. I don't just make you hold regular poses, so don't worry about that. But it is a little bit strange, you know, to shift my mentality in that direction. Anyway,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.